Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly commentary. I'm your host, Slashbang, as always. But today, we're talking about a game that I've recently done a full Let's Play on my channel called Code Vein. If you're interested, link is in the description, go check it out. But you've seen the title, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, criticism, and a rating as well to let you know if this game is for you. Before we get started, I guess we need to set the scene for what this game is all about. Code Vein is heavily inspired from Dark Souls, and it's so inspired and similar in fact that many aspects of the gameplay, such as, you're attacking, you're dodging, parrying, and leveling up your character, it will all come very naturally to a Souls veteran, and that's because these aspects of the game are more or less the exact same. Now normally this is where I'd make a reference to the meme where the kids copying someone's homework and he needs to change or add something. I guess in this case it's tits they've added, I guess. But in this scenario, I think they get a bit of a pass because A, Dark Souls and Code Vein are under the same publisher, Bandai Namco, so they're hardly stealing anyone's thing, it's the same people, basically. But also B, unlike a lot of devs, these guys behind this game were very, very open about how much they wanted it to be like Dark Souls. Instead of going, hey, this is our own game, we made it different, it's like this game, but it's so different that you won't even know, they instead went, hey guys, we made this game, we wanted it to be a lot like Dark Souls, it's got, we're a big fan of the series, we wanted it to be, somewhat the same for you guys. And I'm really glad that they had this kind of approach to it, in all honesty, because I think it got me way more hyped for the game as if they, if they didn't do it, I probably wouldn't have even cared too much, but because I heard that it's basically Dark Souls, but anime. And it's got its own thing as well, it's got a story. I think that got me way more interested in it than I would have been anyways, but yeah. Anyways, Code Vein has you play as a revenant, vampiric like undead humans. Code Vein has you play as a revenant, fucking phone, man. Anyways, Code Vein has you play as a revenant, vampiric-like undead humans that were brought back from the dead to fight the oncoming horrors throughout the game. Side note, this game is actually connected to the God Eater series. However, they are separated enough by the events taking place in the game to, ensure Code Vein remains its own entity. If you're a fan of God Eater, when you come closer to the end of the game, you'll definitely be able to identify where the connection is made. And, there's an anime adaptation for that as well, so if you're a weeb like me, I'd recommend watching it. Either way, but since the game takes notes from the Souls series, expect a lot of dying, a lot of rage and disappointment, but also that addictive, rewarding feeling of beating a tough enemy. I can honestly say I was not disappointed with this game, but now that the scene has been set, let's delve right into the review. So coming at this from a veteran Souls point of view, I can honestly tell you that the game was easier than the Souls series by a significant margin. The difficulty wanes and spikes in certain areas based on if you've been leveling yourself up appropriately, but from what I've seen online, everyone has different experiences with boss fights, as they always depend on a player's playstyle. For example, it took me over 2 hours to defeat the final boss, when it took my friend who was stuck on this easy motherfucker only 20 minutes to beat the final boss. And I was just like, what? How'd you do that so quickly? But yeah, the difficulty is a nice change of pace if you want a game like Souls, but a more chill experience in some forms. However, just because I said the game is easier, doesn't mean someone would be able to just jump in and be good at the game straight away. It took me a little while to find my best way to play, and remember, I've played hundreds of hours of the Souls series to transfer my ability to this game as well. It's still a very hard game at times, just not as hard. Aside from the difficulty, I did enjoy how they went their own way with class building. Rather than leveling your stats up individually, you just level your character up, and the stats will scale to whatever class you're using. I thought this was really nice as it doesn't really lock you into one class for the entirety of your playthrough. You're free to mix and match, change up your playstyles, whilst keeping the ability to change builds or roles whenever you want, unlike the Souls series. The depth of gear in this game, however, felt very lacking to me, with only 2 equipable pieces of gear being your weapon and your armor. There didn't really seem like there was any depth here, and there wasn't really any way to make any complex builds out of this system. You couldn't equip shields either, and the armor was just one piece rather than a set. I personally didn't like it, but the simplicity may cater better to new players in this kind of game, or, you know, it just may cater to you, who knows. The story was very interesting, but at the same time felt it jumped around the place a lot. As is common with anime, the story goes from 1 to 1,000 within such a short period of time. I remember it was sort of just like, yeah, we're gonna go find the source of these blood beads or whatever, and then moments later it's just like, we found it, but then what? There's this whole other thing going on? But yeah, everything from what I've seen though, it fits into place eventually, but it's the kind of game where you got to try and separate the lore from the campaign to not get yourself too confused. This game also has like 3 or 4 endings, I think, and a new game plus feature. So when you've beaten the final boss, there's definitely still a lot of replayability there. Really like that, big plus. Finally, level design scaled from desolate wastelands to somewhat pretty environments. Each area's aesthetic kind of fell a bit flat for me though, as it mostly took place in ruined parts of the city, which I didn't deem too visually appealing, but when it did venture out and make areas look unique, it felt very much like they were copy and pasting some resources. The cathedral area in the game, like, I made reference to Halo Reach's Forge World when I was in it. Like, it looked pretty bland. But aside from how it looks, the levels are at times tough to navigate, and since the game also does a poor job at telling you where to go, you may find yourself wandering around the same area for hours looking for a fucking statue. Okay, that one was actually on me. I was retarded. But still! All in all, I think Code Vein is a very good game for both Souls players and newbies alike. Based on what I've said in this video, I'm going to give it an 8, maybe an 8.5 out of 10, and say I highly recommend picking this up if you want a challenging but fun experience. With tits! Maybe I should edit that one out. But anyways guys, thanks for watching this video. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed it, and share this with a friend if they're thinking about buying the game. But anyways, that's me, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Laters, guys.